Hi, I'm the fire.
And I'm the water. And you're listening to A Cup of Tea.
A podcast about exploring life through each other's eyes.
Well, sharing a cup of tea with you.
Wow, that is the best one we've done in a while.
It was like too smooth.
Yeah, I don't like that. I like the messy ones.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
I do.
Okay, I have no idea what we're talking about today.
You do have an idea.
Well, I do kind of have an idea.
But more than that, you always skip this part.
All right, I do. What are you drinking actually? I don't know.
The raspberry rooibos.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, I didn't want to have coffee. Which is what you're having.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, coffee. I needed to be alive.
Yes, exactly. Come on, woman.
Yeah. So now I am fully functional. What?
Do you believe that? Because I don't.
I am fully functional. I decided to snap out of the, my brain was off when I arrived.
For some specific reason?
But yeah, it was just that. So I woke up. Today we were supposed to shoot my episode of Pockets in the Universe for season 2 in the morning. So I was supposed to be here at 12. In my planning of today, I was gonna wake up at 8:30, do a bar class, prepare the episode, the ACOT episode that was supposed to come out today and hasn't come out today.
Did you do the audio?
Prepare lunch. No, I didn't.
I thought you were going to do it last night.
Yeah, I was. And then I didn't do it. I didn't do shit. So, then I instead of waking up at 8:30, woke up at 12 or something. Which is when I was supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just there was one part of my brain that was trying to say, oh, take it easy. It's not bad. We're still going to make it. There's time. It's not a problem. It's not like we need to be done by whatever hour. And, And then another one was like sadness in Inside Out.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just let's just give up forever. Kind of.
I see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't fully let's give up forever, but I was very discouraged by how the events have unfolded in the morning. Because I was also thinking, when I said I'm preparing my lunch or whatever, I was genuinely being okay, what am I going to have for lunch? But then I thought, there's no time. Why am I wanting to cook stuff if I'm already 3 hours late?
Mm-hmm.
Which is when I decided to have just a bag of noodles. That probably doesn't add to the well-being of the day. But yeah.
I like that. It just it has nothing to do with all of this, but adding to the well-being of the day sounds like a cool concept.
Trademark. Yeah. So then I did have, just now before we started recording, I was doing this. And you're it doesn't look like you're awake. And it was just me mentally being snap out of it.
I see.
And so I did. 90%, 95%.
All right.
Snapped out of it.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to not make noise, but...
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
Yeah. There.
Okay, so today, this is going to be the last episode of 2023 for starters.
Yeah.
It's a little I know it's always, or at least I've always felt this speech of, it's the end of the year. I can't believe how fast the year went by or whatever. But I actually cannot believe 2023.
I was going to say, there's times when it's sometimes you realize what date it is and it's what? But it was January 2 days ago. And we're in November. What is this? But also other times it feels kind of slower. And then right now, to me at least, it feels like the end is over in like 2 days. But also because I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So that sort of shortens the year by a month. Basically. But yeah, it feels super fast. It feels like, yeah, the whole year just went by. It was 2020 yesterday.
I mean, 2020.
And I know. I'm just being I'm exaggerating, but the point is, there's times when I do feel that, oh, it's been so fast, and other times when I'm like, stop, like, come on.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, it has been a very fast year for you?
I don't know if fast is the way I feel. Like, if I was going through it in my head, it's not like I'm looking at it and it's going really fast. It's just like, I don't know, compacted into like a, I don't know how to explain this. It's really funny. Just.
I mean, I do think that if the longer you live, the shorter the years seem. So unless you are weird or super brained or something, and you can actually remember the first 2 years of your life, then the, like, I don't know, starting year number 2 or 3, maybe that one is not as clear, but maybe that one felt the longest, or especially when we were around 5 or 6. I feel like the years were super long.
Yeah, I do feel like elementary years were very long.
And then they started shortening around college, probably.
Yeah, it's like it feels like a whole year went by in a couple of months, a few months.
Yeah.
That's what it feels. It's not like the whole year is like super fast. It's just like compacted.
Yeah. Takes up less space.
Yeah, and I kind of like, I'm trying to look back and be like, where did all the year go? I don't know.
Like, sort of, if you had, the other day I put the Bicha on an assignment to track how we're spending money in the company, right? So doing the same thing with the year, like, where has the time gone, would be an interesting exercise.
Yeah. I mean, I have a new board by my desk now. Like, right now it's empty, but I'm trying to, what I want is for the next year to fill it up monthly, like with things of the month, and like at the end of the year, look at it like as a month, as a yearly.
Sounds cute.
Yeah, that's what I want to do with it. But I think more than looking back at 2023, more than looking back at 2023, I think what I wanted to review is this ongoing conversation that we tend to have every now and then about our creative journey and how...
There's a part of me, I have to confess, that is tired of the, creative journey.
Why?
Wording.
Why?
I don't know, I'm just like, everybody says it. It sounds so overused in a way.
But how else? What would you say instead? Yeah, good.
It's fine.
Okay.
It will, yeah.
Sure.
You can't even tell that anything happened.
What other thing would you say?
That it feels very cliche. It feels, not that it is necessarily, but it feels very empty now. Saying it.
Just because people say it?
Yeah, it's like those words that you repeat so much that they no longer have a meaning, or when you start saying a word over and over again and you're like, wait, what? Like, how is that a word? What does that mean? You know, not all the way there, but very, oh, my creative journey, #creative journey, like dumb like that. That's what it sounds like to me.
Who are you watching that says this?
I don't know. I mean, I guess no one in particular. It just seems to me like it's a trend.
Well, how would you say it then?
I don't know, because it's not, I wouldn't define it by creativity, I think is the difference. because I do understand, I think, that for you, this whole thing we're doing is very much about first realizing that you didn't think of yourself as a creative person, and then you were like, oh, no, but I am. I can be. Creativity, so many things and whatever. But because I don't think the same way, then for me, it's not a creative journey. It's just existing.
Like, I don't tie it to the, oh, I didn't think of myself, but then I do, but blah, blah, blah. Like, I just call it a creative journey because we have a creative company.
Well, yeah, I know. But that's what I mean. Like, it's just a journey then, kind of. You know? Because to me, creative journey is like as if it were a specific thing. And I'm not saying I'm right. It's just the way I kind of understand it or interpret it. It sounds to me like somebody that's picking up a skill. And so, oh, I'm learning to paint. Come with me in my creative journey to know how to paint like Bob Ross or whatever. Or learning to do some other thing. Or restarting a skill that you already kind of had, but then you let go. So you retake it. That's what it sounds like to me. So it sounds very sort of single-minded and
very narrow.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Like, to me, it's so big, and that's why it's like, oh, like the creative journey. That's why it encompasses like the whole, it's the company, and it's the life, and it's
interesting.
The entrepreneuring. Like, I don't see it as a developing a skill journey.
I kind of, interesting. See, maybe that's the thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I see that. You don't like the
narrow,
aspect of it. Yeah. Well, I don't see it that way, so we can call it something else if it makes it better.
I mean, you can keep calling it like that if you want to. No, I won't do that.
On the last episode, I do have my foot on the table, and you can see it. It's right there. It's like, instead of Safito, it's my foot on the table. Speaking of, look who decided to show up.
After the strike ended, she came back to work. I guess we can look for another name. But that was not the original question, was it?
No, like, I was just saying that was the topic of today.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because it's a conversation that we tend to have because it's basically our lives.
Yes.
So that's what I was wanting to talk about, because we had a bit of a crisis moment. Like, it's funny. You called it a crisis. I didn't. So I didn't think of it. Or you called it something like a low point in our movie
I did.
Which I didn't see it as bad as that. So I was a little surprised when you called it that.
I did call it a low point. But interestingly enough, I feel like it was... Now that you were saying it to me, like in the kitchen before we started recording and all of that, I was like, wait, crisis? But I feel like it was a very one-sided crisis. Like, you were having a really bad day.
Yeah, it was a bad day.
So I was joking and saying we should just then stop everything and whatever. But I guess it was like a low point, because I've had many times when I've sort of had that crisis mode that you had, like, or the bad day. Like, I've had several bad days, but because I guess I either don't tell you or we're not together, and so it doesn't become a thing.
Are they personal bad days or
company
bad days? Because that day, what happened is that I was having a personal bad day, and it kind of leaked into the company. But it wasn't, because it's that thing. I feel like at some point in some episode, I've said this of when we are feeling bad and we don't know why, our brain will try to give us a reason, and it will look at stuff around us and be like, oh, that's what's making you feel bad, or like, oh, this other thing, and like it looks for guilty parties, kind of. So I think that's what was happening. I wasn't acknowledging that I was having personal bad feelings, and then my brain just made it about the company. So that's why I'm wondering right now if the bad days that you're mentioning are personal bad days or company bad days.
I don't know. I don't know that I can go back right now to determine. I guess, I mean, if I look at, I don't know, one of my journals or something, maybe I can say, oh, it was a personal thing that triggered the other one. Or, because I feel like company bad days, I mean, we've had a company bad day. Let me tell you.
We have? Or was it a company bad day?
But it wasn't really bad. It was the shit show day.
What was the shit show day?
The pocket.
Oh, yeah. That was the shit show.
Yeah. So that was like officially company.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We had a PR crisis. I don't know how we're gonna say it here, but we had a PR moment of panic.
Yeah.
Basically. But like that sort of hopelessness or being lost, that what I remember from your bad day was that you were feeling really bad and like, I don't know how to do this and whatever, and we were, wait, I'm now mixing things up maybe, but there was one day when we talked to two people. Is it the bad day? Or was it another day?
I don't remember if the talking downstairs, like, oh, this would be the low point in our movie, was the day that we talked to people. But if we step back and we look at the whole like thing,
yeah,
I think what has really happened and why I wanted to talk about this is because we wanted to start a new project that we're working on. And I feel like with that project, we've kind of been stumbling, or we've kind of been, which I guess it's part of the creative process where it's like, oh, you have an idea and then it kind of morphs and then you kind of let it go and then it comes back and like a bunch of things. But this one was, at least for me, and that took us to the low point day.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, we want to start a new series. So how do we go about it? Because we want, what's different is that when we thought of Pockets, we just kind of did it. And it was just about us doing it.
Yeah.
But I think because with the new series, we wanted to make it more, I don't know if to say professionally or what. And I think here maybe you will have a different experience than I've had. Because like with Pockets and Acot, it feels very like just us doing things. But I think with this one, I felt very lost because it was like, oh, like approaching other people and approaching other companies and that felt like I had no idea what that was like. But then I think I had no idea how to do anything when we started Pockets, like other than interviewing. So I want to look at what that was like for us. Because if when we started Acot, we were like, oh, we're going to be very honest on camera about what our processes are like and how our company grows and how we develop. So this is just a little bit of that kind of behind the scenes, like, oh, this is how we're doing. This is how the company, this is what we went through recently kind of thing.
So I was just tripping for a second while you were talking. I mean, I did hear I did listen to what you said, but I was also trying to think, okay, so you had this big crisis and you were feeling bad about not knowing how to like go about this new project that we have and all of that. And I thought that is so distant from my experience, because when we first had the idea for this,
for the new one,
the new one, that look for it soon.
Yeah. We're very excited now.
Yeah. I feel like it was an idea that, I don't know if I remember this correctly, but you had an idea and I had an idea and they were very similar. Like, I think we both came up with the same idea at the same time.
So, yeah, I think like it had like similar qualities.
Yeah,
and it was just like, oh, let's make this
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So,
and then I was like, this is what it's going to be called.
Yeah. And then you were saying, oh, we should do this and whatever. And there was a moment where I said, oh, we should just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, no, let's wait. Let's pause it and keep working on these other things. And then later, let's actually start working on it. And I was like, what? No, we should just do it.
But I feel like that was because we didn't have time. Not because we wanted to make it more professional. I think when we first had the idea, it was going to be basically pockets, but here.
Yeah, kind of.
When it comes to production.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different concept, but it was basically, production-wise, just like you and me filming with people.
Yeah.
So I think in that moment, when it was just about, like, the same pockets concept, I do think that I was like, oh, let's wait for time reasons.
Yeah. But see, that's sort of my experience out of it. Like, it's always been, in general, I feel like I've always been like, oh yeah, let's do it. And there's always something that has kept sort of, at several points, you've been like, oh no, let's wait. Oh no, let's pause. I don't know how to do this, or something. And so, for this one in particular, I've been feeling like I actually deserve my job name. What's the name of the thing?
Get shit done.
No, the job description. The job title. That's the one. Which is get shit done. Like, yeah. No. But like, I have, with this, I do feel like that. Like, no, let's do it. Like, not... Yeah, let's not get stuck on like the details and the perfectionism and all of that, because there are other times when I've been on the opposite side where like I'm the one that's like, no, let's not. So I was trying, when you were saying all of this, I was trying to think of when has it been the opposite, where I'm the one that's stuck, like, I don't know how to do this, like, And it was when we first started the idea of producing podcasts for other people, and it was supposedly my job to go look for people and do stuff, and I was like, how, I don't know. So I think it's a funny thing how it flipped for different challenges, I want to say.
I mean, well, now that you're saying that, it's like, it's basically the same thing. Because again, if we think about the timeline and how when we first had the idea, I did say we can't do it right now because of time. So that wasn't a hesitation thing. That was just like, I don't think I have the actual time to do it. And then when it was like, oh, okay, we should start working on it so that we can make it happen at some point. Because back then we were working on like a documentary with the whole Apapacho thing, and we had other stuff that we wanted to do. Yeah. So that was just why we didn't have time to do it. And then we prioritized on this one, and we were like, oh no, this is the one that we need to make now. And I think it's the same, if you look at it, because of what you're saying right now, I think it's the same approaching people thing that stopped both of us.
Approaching people?
Well, because if that's what stopped you at the podcast one,
Yeah,
that's what stopped me.
I can't. I'm trying to remember exactly how it was. It was approaching people, but it was not just approaching them.
Well, isn't it the whole
it was like finding them and sort of my doubt or the source of anguish in that one thing was, how are we going to find somebody that wants to produce a podcast?
That wants their podcast produced?
Yeah. Mm. And so how do we prove to them that our services are good enough so that we can charge them for the thing? So it was about finding the people and then proving them that our services were worth the money that we charge them.
I think for me, it's not so much about the finding, because I do feel like, oh, there's this company and that company, and like there's people out there. But what you're saying about proving to them that our services are worth paying for,
yeah,
I think that's the part that is also for me where, and again, because I feel like it's not hard, but it's weird for me to look at us, or like especially me, in a professional way. Like if I think of me as a psychologist, like I can be like, oh yeah, for sure, I can charge for a therapy session because I know that is a thing, thing for me as a psychologist. But because there's a certain disconnect, because I don't feel like I guess because I didn't study it, or like I don't move in the industry or something. There's a certain like, because it's somewhat self-taught and like learned through doing it with you and stuff, that I don't see it as oh yeah, I can charge other people for this. So that's where it came from me. And also I think a lot of it was that perfectionism way and wanting to go to other people and be like, oh, we have this great idea and we want you to be a part of it more than as a guest, like as a sponsor and things like that. Where it was, oh, we need to have like we have to have everything planned and thought out and have to have the best pitch and have to have the best everything, because otherwise it wouldn't work, or otherwise, yeah, I don't.
They would shut the door in your face.
Maybe, but I feel like it wasn't. It didn't go that far. It was just like
analysis analysis.
Yeah. Paralysis by analysis, kind of. In this, it felt almost like in school, kind of, where in school they teach you, oh, this is the way you do things, so that once you're outside in the world, people will take you seriously. And
I feel like that's such a...
Yeah, it kind of messes me. It kind of messes me up, because it's like, I don't know. I think at the end, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, because I feel like I'm jumping to the conclusion where now I look at it and it's like that book. It's like behind here, but I can't reach it because I'm not tall like Pablo. But the Rebel Without a Crew book, where he's just like, you just go out and you figure it out and you do it.
Yeah.
But having this precedent of you have to have all the documents and all the things and make it perfect and make it so serious and so professional.
Yeah.
I got so stuck in that. That's, I think, what stopped me a lot. And like, how do I make a pitch, and what does it have to have? And I don't know if you know these things from school.
Well, yeah, I do. Never from school.
So, like, did that help you? Is it like,
I think, because I do understand. I do sort of, the way I see it with like having the pitch deck ready and all of those things, and not just that, but I think it applies to a lot of stuff. And it reminded me of even applying for jobs, where I had to have a cover letter and a resume and all that. And there was a moment recently where I had to apply for a job, but I wanted to improve my resume, and then I had to work on the cover letter. And so I thought, oh, I can't do it because none of these things are ready. But the way that I ended up actually sort of getting through it was, it's okay if it's not ready. I just need it to have, like, I just need it to be as best as it can be right now, and I can keep working on it. And so the same thing applies here, where maybe we don't have the perfect pitch deck ready right now, but we can start approaching people and be like, oh, I have this. And if the opportunity presents itself or something like that, we can say, oh, you know what? This is not ready, but I can send it to you like tomorrow or something. You know, if we come to meet some person that might be interested in it, and we don't have every single piece of paper ready to tell them, oh, this is everything and look at it, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
So all the entrepreneurship classes and management and how to make a pitch and what you need to do to start a company, like all those classes have helped me be more aware of what all those people are looking for. But also, there was this one event that I went to here, and this guy was talking about, it was like a startup event, and there were a bunch of people, and many of them were pitching their business ideas and stuff. And I was talking to this guy who was the head of a fund, one of the largest funds here. And I said something, oh yeah, I have this company with my friend and whatever, but we're not into tech or anything. It's creative services and creative products. And he said, well, this is not the market for you, because these are just people interested in tech problems and maybe some engineering and stuff like that. And so it made me think, oh, okay, it's not about having the perfect pitch deck for these people, because they're not going to be into it, because that's not their business. So it's more about finding the people that might actually be into the same thing that we're into. So that they like the idea and they want to help support it. So the other day when somebody asked me, or somebody told me, I was talking about the project with them. I think it was my cousin, and she said, "Oh, but like, what are you working on? What are you doing?" And that's what I mean with you have that bad day that you had, that you were feeling bad. I didn't have necessarily a bad day, but I was telling her, "Oh, there are times when I'm like, I don't know exactly how to do this or whatever," and she said, "Just do it." In a way that I was like, I'm not hesitating. I don't need you to be cheering me up right now. This is a really good place, actually. But she said, I mean, I think if you work on it and whatever, then yeah, but you need to be smart about it or something. And I said, I know that I'm gonna find people that want to give me money for this. Like, I am sure. So she said, oh, well, then if you're sure, then I think you can do it. And I think it's about that. It's like, maybe in this city of, I don't know how many people live in Vancouver, there has to be one person, at least one other person who is really into this idea and has the opportunity to come into it and be like, oh, of course, I'll help you make it a reality because I really like it so much and whatever, you know? So I think it's about that. And there are times when I'm like, there's so many things we need to do, but it's never like panic. It's never an analysis paralysis. It's always like, needing to do a lot of shit and not getting them done. Kind of.
Like overwhelmed?
Yeah. Like when you sleep until 11:30. Yeah. So Yeah. I think there's also the fact that moment, I mean, I did say that, oh yeah, our lowest point or whatever. And I do think it was that day when we talked to the people. And I think it was the lowest day because maybe not for me. Like, it was not my personal lowest day on motivation and whether we can do this or not. But it was the moment that I decided or that I realized that we were being like, oh, but we should ask these people for advice and ask them how they were doing this and this and that and whatever. And it hit me like, we don't need to be asking people how to do shit. We need to just do it. So yeah. That's when I was like, yeah, let's just do it. Nike. You know?
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's like, so we are entering a new, well, what do you think about the whole, how this project is, because I feel like if we were just doing this project the way we're doing the other ones, where it's just like, oh yeah, we just film, edit, and publish on YouTube.
Yeah.
We would have started this project like this year, like months ago, because we know how to do that. But where does we're trying to make this more professional, or like we're trying to get paid for it?
I think that's the difference.
Yeah, that's definitely the difference, but like,
what?
How does that? No. I'm saying that is definitely the difference. That's why this project is so different from the other stuff that we've done.
Yeah.
How has that impacted us? How does that? Because it did give us, I guess, this whole, what's that called? Like learning curve, maybe? Or like, how do you see that?
I don't exactly know what you're asking me.
Approaching this project in this new way. What does that
with
like?
the money focus?
Yeah.
Well, it's been the reason for doing it a little bit for me.
Because the reason for doing it?
I mean, the thing is, we've talked about this sometimes because, so you have a job.
Yes.
And I don't have a job.
Yes.
I mean, apart from this.
Yeah.
Right?
Like an extra side job. Yeah.
So I have, like, I finished my school here, and I have a work permit, and I've been wondering, there's a part of me that thinks, I should use that work permit because it's a great thing to have, and I should not just let it go to waste. And at the same time, I was thinking, but I want this, like, I want what we're doing to start giving us money already. So that we can keep doing other stuff, and so that I don't have to worry about my family helping me out, being here, and all of that. So I feel very pressured to make it work because of that. Because I know that the moment that somebody trusts us with this thing and sees the value it can have, I think it'll be like a domino effect where other people can see that too, and so it gets bigger and we start doing even better. So yeah, I mean, the whole thing about, we wanted the money to do this because we wanted to look more professional and all of that, to me, it's not exactly making it look more professional. That's not how I would describe it. But it's more about making it look exactly how I'm picturing it in my head. And that does mean having people help us. So some like people with camera people, audio people, somebody to edit it so that we can devote instead of spending 8 hours in the computer doing that, we can be doing other stuff. So it's more about that too. I don't know if that fully answers the question now.
Well, it's just like how I think you're talking more about what it means or like your motivation behind it. But yeah, I think it's just, in our sharing of our experience, it's that thing that I say, oh, we know how to do we have an idea, we film it, we edit it, we publish it on YouTube. Like that's what we do.
Yeah.
How has this new project or the attempt of it, the ups and downs of trying to do, and I say the professional way, not because to look more professional, but I mean professional in the way where it's not just us making videos, posting it on YouTube, like I don't know, anybody, but rather in an industry way, in a company way, in a network way, in a working with other people way, I guess.
Well, I like it, and I think it's maybe the first one of
many.
Yeah, exactly. It's about starting to branch out and widen the network of people we know. And I also, so before coming here, when I was convincing my dad to come here and all of that, one of the things I said was, oh yeah, I have this friend who is telling me he can help me out and he can help me get a job. He works as like mostly in the photography department of movies. So he's either like a gaffer or a director of photography, like all between those, you know. And I wanted that vibe. And there was a moment where he's very, like he's a member of the union and...
He is?
Yeah. Fine. I think he is finally. At first he wasn't. He was like trying to get enough hours or something. So I thought that's what I realized. I don't want to be part of the union. And I had a conversation with some other guy. And he was telling me, oh yeah, this is like, if you want to do the union, you can do this. If you're more of a producer, then you can do the guild. And he was like sort of talking to me about his experience with union and non-union jobs in the film industry here in Vancouver. And I said, I don't want to be in the crew. And that's not to say, oh, I mean, the crew is really important. But I was listening to all these stories of these people that, oh, there's this guy that has been a gaffer for 40 years and he now finally can sort of graduate and be the director of photography in some film. So it's like working a very long time. That was not the actual jump he made, but, you know, something like that. So from the low point, the lowest position in the thing to now being the head of the department or, yeah.
Okay.
And I thought, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be a member of the crew, which can be really cool, but that's not my goal. But I do want to sort of slowly get to know people that are in the crew, in like part of the industry, where, oh, it'd be great to have somebody that's a great gaffer and has a great electrical department and can know how to use all the lights in the world and can tell you, oh, you should do this rig or this other thing or blah, blah, blah. And a makeup person and a set decorator and, you know, like... So I don't think we're there yet at all. And I don't know that that's necessarily we're going to be maybe we'll have a list of people that we can call when we have some project. But I do think we're at a point, basically, in which, at least for me, and this is even a goal, like a therapy goal, that I was talking with my therapist the other day about, of meeting more people and branching out. So this specific thing, we started because of that. I was like, oh, let's meet more people and let's connect and blah, blah, blah. So it's not just connect and become friends, but also make professional connections with people that can help us with this in every stage of the production process. So yeah, that's what it means, I guess, to me.
What it means to you.
Yeah. What does it mean to you?
I do think that it's well, one of the things that we were saying after the pivot, I guess. The
pivot.
Yeah, because like I think of it this way. If I look at the timeline, if I look back or whatever, if I step back to look at it, it's just like this little section of the timeline where it was a little bit like, I don't know, scatterbrainy, or just trying to be very prepared, or just trying to be as good and professional as we could, and we did try to ask for advice, and because I do think that it's valuable to some extent. Maybe we just didn't have the right people to ask advice from, because the people that we did ask, they just had advice that didn't really fit our situation.
Yeah, no, it felt
like it was valuable advice, but we were just not. It was just not for us in that moment. I mean,
I don't know, but to me, it felt very cookie cuttery.
A little. Yeah, I feel like if we were just starting, if this had been like our very first, let's like not even when we first started Pockets. I feel like when we first started Pockets, it was so easy. It was just, we literally just did it.
Yeah.
So I do think that asking for advice is valuable, and we just maybe didn't have the right people to ask advice from. And even then, the people that we did ask, there was like one or two nuggets of wisdom in there, so it was fine. And I appreciate it. But I do think it was good that you had that, like, we don't need to ask people anything.
Yeah, I was done. I was like, stop it.
You were very done.
I was like this close to hanging up the call. Being like, lost the internet. Sorry, bye.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I was just like looking for guidance to approach something that I didn't know how to do. And even then, like, it goes back to something we said in the last episode where it's like, but I do know, because even in school, even in psychology, we did put up our own Congress. So it was like, I do know how to do this. I know how to do it.
Yeah.
Like asking for guests and asking sponsors, and like, we did all of that in school.
And you know what? It feels very funny to me. It feels very funny to me in a very parallel way. I guess it kind of makes sense, but it's funny to realize that, again, in therapy. There was this thing my therapist said the other day about, knowing how to do this and like how to, I don't exactly remember what she was talking about. But she was saying, you should do this and this and this other thing. And I said, I already know how to do that.
Yeah, that's what you were saying in the last episode.
That's what I said?
Yeah.
I have no recollection whatsoever.
Well, that's why I said it ties back to the last episode when you said exactly that thing.
Well, I hope I was more eloquent last episode when I actually remembered what she said. But No, what I'm thinking now is the parallel between the personal one and the
when it's like, oh, I don't know how to do these things.
Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Sure. Remembering that you do know how to do things.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a little like uncertainty. It's a little, I don't know. But I do look at this little bit of time, like a little chaotic, but in a good way even. Just kind of like finding our footing, or at least me, right?
Yeah.
And then I got very inspired because we started finding companies that we wanted to work with and like finding people. We already talked about that, the documentary that we saw here
I think
on ACOT.
so. I feel like we did.
I also think that we did.
I mean, if we didn't, we can TLDR it for you. We went to watch this documentary a couple of,
like
at least a couple of, I think a month ago.
like a month ago.
It was in the last bank statement, so a month ago. It was, I mean, if I'm being an asshole, trademark.
She is.
It was a really bad documentary. It was like it was a documentary that could have been a YouTube video.
I do agree that it could have been a YouTube video. I don't think it was that bad, but you're the technical person here. So
it was the most cheaty. Like I was watching it and I kept thinking, if my film teachers watch this, they would give it like a 40 or 30 out of 100.
Really?
Because of that. So bad? One of my teachers was very adamant on not resorting to the
music
video clip effect. What he called? Yeah, it's that the music. Like the cheapest way to make it look cool is to put music on it. And that's what they did for the whole thing. They were just, action shot with a cool song. It looks amazing. And I get it does look cool.
I mean, it was a documentary about bouldering women.
It was, but they could have layered it. They could have put more story into it. You know? And it's not, I do think it's not easy to find a story sometimes. But it does require, I guess, being a good documentary filmmaker to, within this group of, 5 women or something?
Like a few women?
I mean, the idea itself of, it's hard to find this. Like, the director, or no, she was not the director, she was the producer.
Yeah, she produced
of the film. When there was a Q&A after the screening, and she said, I wanted to do this because there are not enough, or there aren't any films about amateur
women
bouldering
women.
Like,
in the media.
If that had been the topic, that would have made it a tiny bit better. But there was no theme, there was no story, there was just, look at our trip, kind of.
Yeah.
You know? So
a little, yeah. There was a tiny bit of story of her approaching a certain climb that was very difficult. Like that was the story moment.
Yeah.
And it was cool. That bit was cool. And yeah, like I'm not as critical of it because I don't know enough. But I can say, and I guess that's my critique, that it could have been, it might as well have been a YouTube video.
Yeah.
And it would have worked perfectly as a YouTube video.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where the line between documentary and YouTube video is. But my point of bringing that up is not to critique other people's work, but to say that we were very inspired after that night.
Yeah.
Well, at least I was super inspired after that night. Because it was just like, she just went and did it. And she has no idea. And she knows nothing about filmmaking. Idea. I mean, she's not the filmmaker, right? She just had this idea. She's a bouldering woman who saw that there was a lack of portrayal, and she wanted to do it, and she did it. And that was very like, if she can do it, we can definitely do it. So that was like a little spark of let's just do it. And then again, a few weeks later, I found a company that was like similar to what we want to do, kind of like filmmaking, but without story, but with like storytelling of, not the human experience. That's kind of our thing, but sort of meaningful. Not to say that filmmaking is not meaningful storytelling. I'm doing a poor job at describing this guy's company, but the point is that I found them and I was very inspired by them. I was like, look.
To you, like, filmmaking is not exclusively about storytelling.
Okay, good.
But,
there we go.
Yeah, it can also be just, there's this whole thing, and this is, I don't know, first year or something from school, of a teacher talking about form versus what?
Figure?
Fondo. No, I mean, it was like, in Spanish, it was like a forma y fondo. So you can, like, the fondo is the story. So you can do everything that's focused on the story and it looks like shit, like a Hallmark movie. I guess, kind of. I mean, not the story is great either. Or it can be all form and no story. And then you have, like, I was going to say expressionist, which I guess kind of, but like avant-garde, very technical film stuff that is not super narrative focused.
Where like you have no idea what you just watched.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there you go. Yeah, just like with like filmmaking with purpose and connection and stuff, kind of. The point, it doesn't really matter. The point is that I was, again, very inspired about just seeing someone that was doing something similar to what I want to be doing. So I think, again, I look at the pivot of just being stuck in, we want to do this, but we don't know how to, or I don't know how to, and kind of paralysis by analysis. But then this moments of spark of, we'll figure it out as we do it. We don't need to, and again, jumping back to the conclusion, we don't need to have it all figured out. I feel like that's the thing that I kind of tie to those conversations that we have with your aunt on like the lives of Pockets in the Universe, of our generation kind of, I don't know if fragile or pampered or spoiled or what it is.
All of the above.
Yeah. But kind of going back to basics of just not being too prepared. I don't know if it's a school thing or a parent's thing or some sort of narrative or programming of you must be the best and the most perfect and have it all figured out, and this is how you do things, and you have your A to Z plan, and you mark everything and you make sure that you have everything ready, and then you will succeed.
I think that is, and because I've been thinking about it, this is not the topic, but I think that is because they're separating our childhood or like rearing years from entering the world. I think that's the problem. There should not be a distinction.
A separation. Yeah. I remember in that one pocket with my psychology friends, where I think it was with Nat that we were saying that you're in school and you feel like your whole life is school.
Yeah.
And then that stops and you're thrown into life. Yeah. The world. And like why,
such a made up thing.
There shouldn't be that distinction.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I want, how do you go about that?
Like practically?
I guess, yeah.
I think it can be like what my aunt was saying in the previous live we did with her. Because now we're doing Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives.
Now we're doing Instagram Lives.
Okay, Instagram/Facebook Lives every 2 Sundays. Where she said that she was already working as a kid because her dad was a businessman or something, and so she had to learn how to do business stuff when she was little, and she started working very young, and she did the same thing to my cousins. Like, I remember them having jobs when we were like, I don't know, 12 or something.
We the, quote unquote, this is a very general, broad statement, just bear with me. Are we the first generation to not work until they're out of school?
Maybe for many people, yeah.
Maybe that's the problem.
I think that's the problem. Yeah. Because maybe maybe our parents, our moms didn't work necessarily, all of them, while in school because of the whole mientras me caso situation. So they would just go to school and then get married right away. So they wouldn't even need the work experience anyway. And it might have been a more male thing of now that you're done with school, you go into a company. But also it was simpler. It was more direct, I feel like, before. Because, yeah, you would study and then you would get hired by some company and then your 30 years of work life would be on that company and then you retire at 60 or 50 or something. So it was more linear in a way. And now my aunt keeps telling us, oh, you have so many opportunities and you can do so many things. And so that is also true because it's not just, oh, you graduate and then you start working for some company as an employee or whatever. But there seem to be more opportunities for making a living. Like, before there was the idea of being an influencer didn't exist, right? Or being a content creator. So you couldn't say, oh, I will be done with school and then have a YouTube channel and that's going to be my income. Like, that didn't exist. So I feel like it was very straightforward. You went to school or you didn't go to school and then you would be like a factory worker or work at the family company or the family business or something like that. You know? Unless you had some kind of career like medicine or being a lawyer, that was maybe a little different. But even then, it felt very like family-led. I feel like, oh, if everybody's in your family's a doctor, you'll be a doctor. Everybody's a lawyer, you'll be a lawyer. And then you'll be in the family business. Law firm or whatever, or in the family practice if you're a doctor or something. Or even if you weren't, maybe if you strayed from that, it still kind of feels to me, very straightforward. And, oh, you study psychology, then you'll be a therapist. That's easy. Like, then you'll leave school and you will do, I don't know, some internship or fellowship or some kind of thing. And then slowly over time, you'll have your practice. That's what it feels like to me for the older people.
As opposed to
now you're out and you
have so many
like options. Oh, so many options. What are you gonna do? Yeah. And it's also a matter of perspective, because if you feel like you have many options, then you can have analysis paralysis and be like, so many options, but what do I do now? I don't know how to do anything. And maybe too, and this is something that I've been thinking a lot about because my dad has a school, like he owns a school in Mexico. And I've been thinking about, does it make sense to have schools anymore? You know? Like,
how do you mean?
I'm thinking of so I'm technically, eventually, at some point, going to own half of that school. What am I going to do with it? You know? And so I was wondering really, not with any actual sort of historical knowledge in my hand or anything, but I feel like before, schools were very technical or very specific, because they would teach you stuff that you needed to do to do a certain job. So that's how the tech in Mexico started, you know? Like, oh, a bunch of businessmen in Monterrey needed workers to be able to do things in their factories, so they made a school to train their employees.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. But that makes sense.
And the same thing still applies for many people where they need to learn skills for the jobs that they have. But the opposite end of that is, I guess, people like us, where you don't have a job already. It's not like you need to train for the job or something. It's more like, oh, you go into school and you learn this. And there's so many made up classes or subjects that you need to take in school. That to me is the one that feels like, oh, you need to learn how to, I don't know. I'm trying to remember one of the stupid classes that I had, but it feels very made up. Very like, oh, we need to teach you guys how to be very, like, I don't know, workers for the 21st century and blah, blah, blah. And it just feels so made up and so unrealistic. Like, no, I need you to teach me, I don't know, good, actual hard skills for working. I don't know. I can just keep rambling. But the point is that I don't even know why we started on this tangent. And that's the difference I feel like between our parents' generation and ours, that theirs was more straightforward, more like, oh, you need to learn these things, and then slowly over time you need to learn more, but you will learn them like on the job, which still applies now. But now it seems like there's more opportunities, and maybe there are objectively more opportunities. I don't know. I guess it's just a matter of the world got more complicated. So now we need to learn to deal with the complication, I guess.
I go back to this thing that we tried to say to your aunt in one of the lives of, like, it feels like they grew up with, like, if they wanted to be a photographer, they grew up with, the film cameras.
Yeah.
Like easy peasy lemon squeezy. So, and they're like, oh, cool, I can take photos. And it's just about the fact that you can now take a photo, right? Like, without painting it. Like, oh, photos. And then you get into it and you grow and you start, like, being able to, okay. Figure it out. Brain. Where you outgrow first what you already have and you look for something better. So they slowly get better equipment, get better equipment. Where to me, this whole speech of, there's so many possibilities, you are so lucky. Like, sure. But it feels to me like you handed me the world's most expensive camera and I have no idea what to do with it. That's how I think. That's how it makes sense in my head. The whole, like, there's so many possibilities. Okay, yeah, but I still, it makes so much sense for you that already knows, that already went through all of this history of cameras, for you to be like, oh my God, you have the best camera in the world. And they're so excited for you. And they can't believe that you're not so appreciative and you're not, on top of the world with this amazing camera that you have, that they were so desperate for. And it's like, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how it works, So.
But you know what? If we follow that same metaphor, it does go back to, if you know the basics, you can slowly figure it out then.
Yeah.
It might be harder. Like, the learning curve will be steeper.
I think it's very overwhelming.
But then you can still manage it.
Yeah, I think it's doable.
I guess the moment you realize you already know, and we go back to like, oh, you've known all along.
Yeah.
Then that's where you're like, oh, right. Okay, it might be really hard, but then I already know how
in reality,
the principles of photography work. Like in our Skillshare class.
Look out for that. It's coming up soon. In reality, in practical reality, that is how I approach anything that we do that's technical, that I have no idea what to do. Like I go to the most basic thing and I'm like, okay, I can do that, and then anything more complicated than that, then it's like, oh, you tell me, or you figure out, or you teach me, or something, because it is figure outable.
Yeah,
I know that, but it is overwhelming, and the easiest way to handle the being overwhelmed with it is going back to the most basic thing that I can do. And yeah, that helps.
Very well.
Yeah. I also lost track of how we got here.
Yeah. I don't remember at all. I guess we'll find out in the editing room.
Yes, we probably will.
Yeah.
But, I know that at some point we were talking about the guy in the company and the girl with the documentary, and I was very excited. And I was like, they're doing it, so like we can do it.
Yeah.
And that helped me kind of get rid of the whole trying to be perfect thing.
Yeah.
Which I think was messing me up, because it was like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to try to be the most prepared for it I can be.
Yeah. It reminds me of, lately I feel very like parenty with Evita when she comes up to us and she's like, oh, but I don't know what that to do with, I don't know, insert crisis or something. And the other day she came up to us and was like, I haven't been uploading the TikToks because I keep thinking about him. And I'm like, I didn't post it, so maybe I should rearrange the grid, but then do that. And I was like, stop, just do it. I don't care if it's not perfect. Perfect is the enemy of good. Just have it be good enough. And there was that, and also the sort of I had a realization that for a long time I had thought of that cliched answer for the job interview where like, what's your weakness or whatever, and people are, oh, I'm a perfectionist, and
that is a weakness.
they very shallowly and very sort of trying to make it a backhanded thing, trying to say, oh, I'm a perfectionist and that's my weakness because I want you to think that that's my strength and whatever. I didn't fully understand how much perfectionism is a weakness until later, like lately, where I'm like, stop it.
Yeah,
no, it's so bad. It's freaking, like, it stunts.
Yeah.
And you can't move. So, it's been an interesting experience too.
We can go back to your aunt and be like, whatever parents are out there being like, you must have an A in all of your tests.
Yeah,
stop
fuck that.
You're not doing anyone a favor.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I think, anyway, trying to wrap this.
Yeah.
I think we are past that learning curve, or like that pivot moment in the process. And I think we're feeling better. I think we're very excited. I think we are very actively working on this thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
And just quick, I guess, how are you feeling about 2024?
I like the number, and I'm excited not about the whole work thing that we have going on now. That's cool.
I am excited.
But there's an eclipse
I've
been waiting for. Yeah, for years. I've been waiting for like 20 years. Because it was in like second grade or something, like in a second grade geography book, that on April, I don't remember what day now, but April of 2024, there's going to be a full solar eclipse that is visible. I don't know if from Vancouver, actually.
I hope it is.
But at least from Mexico, you can fully see it.
Well, but you're going
to
be here.
About that. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You better be. It's April. What are you going to be doing in Mexico in April?
I don't know. I did go to Mexico like 4 times this year.
She does it a lot.
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, we'll see. I am very excited about 2024. I also really like the year for obvious reasons. Well, maybe not to you, but my birthday is on the 24th. So I think that will be good. Yeah. I'm excited. Okay. Anything else before Rex?
No, I'm ready for a rec.
Okay. Do you have yours?
I do. Do you have yours?
I do have mine. I told you the other day.
Oh, I forgot. But
That's okay.
So mine is, since maybe by the time this episode comes out, it's a little late in the game, but a great Christmas present can be an Alexa.
It will be late in the game.
For grandparents. That's my rec.
Interesting.
They're so handy. And I guess it depends on how technology accepting your grandparents are. But to me, I've had 50% success rate. Because my nana loves it.
And really
is like, I don't understand it. I'm like, just talk to it. just ask it random stuff. You can ask the weather, what date it is, what stuff you have to do. You can ask it to play you a movie even if you want to. Play music, whatever. And she's like, no, it's too complicated, which I won't get into it anymore. But my other grandma, she loves it. She can play music, listen to she has audiobooks on it.
Nice.
I sometimes call her on it. So, because they don't have to press buttons, they can just talk to it. I think it's the perfect thing.
I see.
Yeah.
That's very cute.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It will be late in the game because I think this is gonna come out on by Christmas.
Yeah.
A few days before or something.
Well, if you're scrapping for gift, Alexa.
Yeah.
Or a HomePod, or what's the other thing? A Google. Well, whatever. Some voice assisted thing.
Right. Okay. So my rec is an app that I found.
Oh, right. I remember that
Thanks
now.
to, again, Ali Abdal. Because I can't get enough of his deep dive episodes.
Yeah.
And it's called, you probably can't see it, but it's called How We Feel. And it's really cute. It's a black background and then it's like a heart made of different colors. And it's really cute. And you go in and it asks you how you are feeling.
My watch just asked me how I was doing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, I don't want another app. But I do like that it's better than the Health Kit one.
Yeah. So you check in, you go in, and it asks you to tap the color of kind of how you're feeling. So it has high energy unpleasant, high energy pleasant, low energy unpleasant, or low energy pleasant. And you go and you tap one, and then it shows you a bunch of feelings, and it tells you what they are. And it's really cool.
I like that it has different shapes.
Yeah.
That's really cute.
It's really cute. And then it also has lessons.
Huh.
Yeah. When you first log into the thing, it asks you, oh, why are you on the app? Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, because I want to learn about my emotions. Because I want to, I have issues with anger. Because I want to work on my relationships and stuff like that. And maybe it suggests your lessons based on that. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, you can go into learn, and it has lessons change your thinking, take some distance, take another perspective, practice self-compassion. And then there's another one, do something different.
That's cute.
Be a joy finder, draw something, find your mood music.
Cute.
It has another one for move your body.
Mood music. Interesting.
It has one that's called reach out, and it has different exercises. It has a lot of lessons and it's really cute. And then you can see how your monthly feelings look.
What is that? Low energy happy?
Low energy pleasant, high energy pleasant. Which I'm surprised. I would have thought that I'm low energy pleasant. Yeah. I don't know why.
I mean, you were very hyper the other day.
That's true. Interesting.
It's true.
Well, there are some that are in the high energy pleasant section that I consider more low energy, I guess. But I don't know, pleased is in the high energy one.
Interesting.
Playful, I guess, makes sense. Accomplished, motivated, productive. So
Okay. Cool.
Wait, all time. That's my all time? Interesting.
Did
Monthly.
you pay for it?
Nope. I think there is a way to pay for it.
Of course there is.
Like you get more stuff. I don't know. Interesting.
Well, that's cool.
There's interesting. And then you can tell it what's making you feel, whatever emotion you're feeling. And it's like, these are my feelings that I have because of home. These are my feelings that I have because of the company.
I see a purple thing there.
It was blue.
Oh. Well, yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. The Apple Kid one does have a similar thing.
I was tired that day.
And it showed me like a sort of not a correlation, but it was like a sort of association of feelings with like the tags that you can have, because it gives you like sort of personal, community, and then like work stuff. So it's home, well-being, self-care, hobbies, and then I don't know, those aren't all of them, but then another one's like family, friends, community, relationship, something, and then another one's like work, money, tasks, and stuff like that. So it was, like it's cool. I like it.
Yeah,
that you can see your family is making you miserable. No,
that would be very interesting to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why it's really cute. I've been doing it at least once a day. I try to do it twice a day. Like I have a notification in the morning and in the evening to be like, how are you feeling? Check in. And I'm having a lot of fun. Because you tell it the feeling, you tell it what's making you have the feeling, but you can also add a little description of what's happening.
Yeah.
So I'm loving it. I'm very excited. I think it's really cute. I think it works very well to like check in with yourself, be aware of your feelings and learn more about your feelings. Just like love it, both as a psychologist and as a regular person. So yeah, that's
cool. Well, we will see you next year.
True. Bye.
For another cup of tea.
Cool.
Thanks for sharing a cup of tea with us. Send us your comments using the hashtag acotcast. And remember to subscribe to get fresh episodes every week.